Hey guys, how's it going? Miso here, back with another Epic 7 video, and today we are kind of starting a new series that is basically going to be going over some of the most popular Guild Wars defense teams and how to beat them. This is mostly, I'd say, for my own guild, so that we can improve our offenses, but hopefully this will be something that'll help you guys out too. As always, remember, hit that like button, hit the sub button, ring the bell for notifications, and yeah, let's get into it. Today we are going to be going up against Shufflers, which is 5fingershuffles guild. He is actually in the mid tower over here, and as you can see, I've already done my Guild Wars attacks, but I'm going to be going over each of those attacks in just a bit. So yeah. All right, so unfortunately I forgot to put the record button on and record this before I went in, but I'm going to explain these offenses and why I chose the units that I did now. So first team FCC, I see that immediately. I think, can I OPSIG it? If the answer is yes, then I use it. I usually really like this combo right here. An attack buffer for OPSIG, that could be ALOS, that could be AOL, that could be whatever. That gives her attack buff. My OPSIG, like my AOL is like, or not AOL. This is ML Angie. My ML Angie is about 260 something. My OPSIG is about 250 something. I don't really have that many. Like, I don't play cleave, right? So I don't have like a fast enabler for OPSIG to give her attack buff. This is the fastest attack buffer I have. That's why I use her. You could decide to use an Amelia if she's faster than OPSIG. Anything that's faster than OPSIG that'll give her attack buff is good. But yeah, just gonna use this to give attack buff. OPSIG to S2 to kill the maid, S3 to strip, and then land the bombs, and it's very straightforward there. If you don't have this combo, for this team, they have a singular DPS, right? You can use Milim. Milim's a really good option against this because it prevents Lanny from getting revived, and you can also reveal her from stealth. So Milim is also another very, very good, very, very easy win. You just get Milim, extinct Elandy, and they have nothing against you. She can literally solo this team, actually, if you really wanted to. Another option is Carrot. Not as good as Milim, but it'll do the job. The thing is, like, just because they have one DPS, it's so easy to deal with these teams. So if you're thinking about your own defenses, try not to use single DPS teams because there's a lot of ways to deal with an option like that. Bottom team here, I used Trozette, Violet, Ruel, with Trozette protecting Ruel, because if anything happens to my Violet, which you'll see in the Guild Wars later, he actually just keeps getting hit. You can always use Ruel to revive Violet. But Violet's just going to tank through everything, and then eventually you're just going to go up against this Aravi, and you're going to take her out. Violet's a very good option against this team, just because he's very sustainable. He does a lot of damage, so he can kill Aravi regardless. And yeah. Other good options here. Landy, if you have a Bruiser Landy, could be pretty good. You put up an FCC in front instead of the Trozette, right? That way, your Landy doesn't get stripped, like her immunity doesn't get stripped by the AOL, so you just keep putting damage into her. Then you could put like maybe like a more offensive healer over here, like Amelia or something like that. Just keep cycling her to do more damage. Or I mean, you could just go with Ruel again. It doesn't really matter. Landy will just sustain through this and kill everyone. That's another viable option. Basically, you want units that won't die to the RB, and then you want to light bait the Aravi, and make sure your light bait doesn't die either. So that's why you have the Trozette here, or maybe an FCC or something. But I think Trozette's a better option because he gives defense buff, and he also makes her take less damage. So you're pretty much never in risk of having your Ruel die, because sometimes your fight might last long enough to where the Arabi puts enough injury on Ruel where her S3 just kills the Ruel. But with Trozette, that pretty much never happens. Trozette will always protect her and make sure she doesn't die. But yeah, that is how you go up against this Guild Wars team. Alright, sorry guys. I unfortunately decided to not start recording earlier, but we kind of already started. I just, went S3 with Angie, and then we're going to clean up here the Made Chloe with
Target
Opsig.
confirmed. Eliminating.
And then
Switching to support
S3 with
Code
Opsig,
received.
Strip. And with her
Executing command.
with barriers, she ignores this, so this definitely strips everything.
Either side.
And then we're just gonna clean up with
Let's
these
subdue
areas
them
here.
all at once.
We're just gonna put another bomb on her just to make sure the Maddie dies because she's.
I swear, it's way too hot,
S3
humid,
here.
and noisy here. I
Bomb
never did
everyone,
like the scene.
and we win. This is a very, very straightforward field battle if you have Opsig.
Please, over here.
And I haven't recorded it yet, but later I'll
May I help
record
you?
the beginning of this to go over some other strategies.
Another
to beat this,
meaningless fight.
team if you don't have this
I didn't think
specific
they'd
setup.
follow us all the way here.
Not too many people do.
I'll
And
make sure
I'm getting
you feel the
15%
pain.
a lot by this FCC.
Losing
Oh
Can I go home? Anybody there till I kill this one?
my god. Wow.
Analyzing new enemy.
I have a 100, I have a max, whatever it's called, her artifact, and I didn't see a resist there, so I don't know what happened.
On behalf of the creator,
So this team
I
is
will deliver
going to be
judgment.
very simple. I just use the violet here, and of course he doesn't dodge, right?
This
Why would my
sword is the
violet
only
dodge?
thing in this world I trust.
But I'm just going to this RB because
Enjoy the
I
pain.
this
It'll be the last
my
thing
counter
you feel.
slash.
may the
She,
light guide us.
Okay, I'm gonna keep hitting this one.
I know I'm beautiful.
Finally, my sword has some work to do. I will enact my own justice.
Alright, we just gotta wait
Look
for
at my
Violet to
sword.
turn.
Face me,
There
not
we
my
go.
face.
And then now our 2 units also have defense.
I'll show you how a hero
So
does
then we can
things.
Just go ahead, finish
My
RB
sword
here.
will pierce your heart.
And even if he S3s, nothing's gonna die. And even if he
Descending
gabs and
blade!
hits my units, and I don't think my Violet will die. Regardless, of course he hits my Violet. Why
Glory
would
be
he?
with us. I will protect everyone.
But, you know, that's why we have Ruel here, just in case anything happens, in case he dies.
Who
in
let
case
these
whatever.
guys off their leashes?
But you just try to stun him. No stun. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
I'm not afraid.
We're just gonna keep playing it off.
I will deliver
S3 again,
unto
but that is
you
again
your
fine because none of my
salvation.
units are actually dying.
Now try
I
me.
didn't even get
Don't
some-
chicken
wait.
out.
I realized
have?
that I actually used S3 there
This
when I
one
didn't have
seems a good
full,
match.
Full focus.
Fortune is on our side.
But it's fine because the RB gets baited by everybody. I mean, all the units get baited by Ruel anyways,
Need my
so it doesn't really matter too much. And even if my
May the
girl,
light guide
my
us.
Violet died, he would have been able
I
to.
wish for
I
a
would have been able to
miracle.
survive them. So this team is just like very, very foolproof, very, very good. And with the
Let's fight.
Crozet here, it makes sure that my Ruel is taking
I will open the doors to hell.
He's
Look
not
at my
doing all that
sword.
much damage.
I'll
Not
have
my
you
face.
kneel under this sword. I'll show you how a hero does things.
Go.
Glory be with us. What should I do?
Sure. I know I'm beautiful. How futile your life is. Farewell. A genius such as me never loses.
Alright, so here is the second mid tower. This top team is a single DPS team with Baline, who's not even a very high DPS team, with no damage mitigation whatsoever. It has AOL to kind of control, but if you are playing against this team, you basically are never threatened, like with death. Because Baline doesn't really do enough damage to really kill anybody. So all you really need to do is have sustain and a tanky unit that doesn't die to, like, you know, a sneeze, basically. So not like a squishy DPS, like a glass cannon. And here they chose a Ravi. Not everybody has a Ravi. You can probably go for Fire Ravi as well. You can go for, you know, even the unit like Charles if you haven't built. Any like tankier DPS that outputs a good bit of damage, because you want to out damage this Ruel's heal, which isn't huge, but you want to do it. And just some sort of sustain on your side. And then what you're going to want to do is on the bottom team, even though they have a Cerise right here, it doesn't really prevent you from using any heals or any CR pushes like Amelia, right? So you can cleanse with Amelia and CR push. That way you can use Milim if she's a slow Milim and use this combo, or you can just use Milim, you know, normally if you have a faster one, like a 241. And then just Soul Burn and then S3 the Landy, and then that should be able to take care of it. And then you could just have some sort of light bait. Let's say Doris right here is what I use to tank the Aravi. And it should be pretty straightforward from there. My Doris is pretty bad, so I put Proof of Valor on her. And my kind of rule of thumb is like if I have one solo Soul Weaver with no damage mitigation, I usually put Proof of Valor to make sure she doesn't die. For your DPS, again, Milim's good. You can also go with Carrot if you wanted to. Carrot's a good alternative here, especially because there's no FCC here. So there's no shield to prevent the strip. So you just Soul Burn, S3, S1 this girl, and then you just win from there. It's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Just use any kind of like good DPS against this Landy, and then have something to tank the Arabi, and it should be good to go. All right, let's go.
This is a formidable opponent.
So this is looks like it's a slower AOL. The AOL is about like 220, but that doesn't really matter.
I will deliver unto you.
So my first target is probably going to be either the AOL or the Ruel. So I realized I made a mistake here, and it caused the fight to be prolonged much longer than needed, and also caused my FCC to eventually die. But the target I should have gone for is Ruel, actually, because I wanted to get rid of her first so that the fight wouldn't drag on and the blind wouldn't have a chance to do so much injury damage. But I went for the AOL first, and she just ended up dying and getting revived and then coming back and then keep sustaining. So it caused my units to get injured a lot. It caused my Rowana to start healing less and my FCC to die as a result. At the end of the day, I still won the Guild Wars battle and I revived FCC because a Ravi's just that good. But if you were, for example, using a Fire Ravi, it might have been a little bit harder for you to do this. You'll probably still win, but you might lose 1 or 2 units along the way. But yeah, I should have definitely focused on the Ruel only and not the AOL to begin with. The nice part about having Rowana is even if though she Elbrises, it's not really going to do anything to you, right? You're just going to heal it all back up. So I'm going to be either focusing all my attention on the Ruel or the AOL first. That way, what happens is if I am dealing enough damage to this AOL, right? What'll happen is the Ruel's gonna S3 her, and then I can focus my attention on just killing something, because that's kind of the hurdle that you want to get through, the S3.
Help me.
Step back, flies.
People just suck.
Enjoy the pain. It'll be the last thing you feel.
So it looks like this is a counter-attack
I must be
girl, which really doesn't matter too much. It actually helps with the cause. It helps with the fact that we have Rowana here, because it causes it to heal more. So now she spends her S3. She's already spent her S2, so her kind of sustain heal stuff is like, it's pretty much over. She's got to wait for her cooldowns to come back up. And we pretty much out-damage it. So we're just going to keep going. And again, it really, like, the sustain part, it just does itself because of Rowana. Like every time she does something like this, right, we just heal it all back up. Even though she injuries us, it's like there's no threat here. Like all my units are pretty much at full HP, which is kind of crazy.
I'll deal with this. Enjoy the pain. It'll be the last thing you feel.
Just follow my lead. To take, to break, and to destroy. That is a survival's duty. May blessings be with you. The door will remain closed. At least to you it will.
I need that. Your life ends here.
Yeah, it's pretty GG from here on.
This is just the
I
beginning.
kind of made a mistake of going for the AOL at the beginning. I should have just went for the Royale all the way.
I'll take your life. I'll deal with this. I will open the doors to hell.
Alright. So I kind of messed up on the last one, and I probably should have just focused on the Royale. But either way, it was I still won. The plan was foolproof.
もうすぐ終わりかしら。もしかして手加減してほしいのか。相手してやってみる
Easy.
Your dead comrades are waiting for you.
And then now we just tank
That
and
hell
heal.
no longer hide. Give up now. Help. Silence.
どうしてそんなに
Yeah,
命令術
very
の使い
easy.
手を舐めないこと。
Alright. So, yeah. This is pretty straightforward. Just kill her, and then you win. Because there's no threat of death break or anything, so... the thing that does complicate this fight a little bit is if the a Ravi is a counter Ravi, because you could potentially get countered on, but I mean, even then, I don't think you're gonna die, because Doris is really tanky against dark units, and she has proof of valor on. But you know, it's one thing that could complicate it. But this is a speed art a Ravi, and I know that. I'm just gonna S1 here because our Milim is coming up soon.
Let me show you the results of my research.
Same with this. And then we're just gonna continue to deal more damage.
Enjoy the pain. It'll be the last thing you feel.
See, this is why I have Proof of Valor on her, because she can take quite a bit of damage. But it's nothing to worry about because I have that on her. And then this is a kill. Easy.
これで終わりね。お疲れ様。
Alright, so this is the last mid tower here. This is against Shuffles, 5fingershuffles. So this top team, he has Rem, Alencia, Cecilia. I know that he really loves the Cecilia, which is why he has her on defense. But unfortunately, Shuffles, Cecilia kind of does nothing in this fight. She doesn't do enough damage. She doesn't strip, so provoke won't really do anything. Unless she's like super slow and your team goes before her. But even then, like, it doesn't really do much. The only real threat here is going to be this Rem, so we want to take her out as quick as we can. Given that they have both Rem and Alencia, it's like a double reason not to use AoE units that other than Landy, because she doesn't get countered. So you're going to want to either use a single target DPS, kind of like a Rimuru, so you could have like an attack buffer, like a Maid Chloe Rimuru, and then you S3 with Maid Chloe to give attack buff Rimuru. S3 is the Rem and most likely killer if you're building him correctly, and then you just take out this Alencia or Cecilia. At that point, they kind of have no threat, because Alencia doesn't really do all that much damage if you have like a water bait like Crow, right? And even if he dies, we have Ruel here to give her a revive. But you could probably also use Rwana here again, because if the Alencia does proc Mind's Eye, the 2 attacks, then that'll be a heal from the Rowana as well. But I like using Ruel. She's a little bit more safer. But then the DPS, again, you could do something like a Rimuru. You could even use Charles. You could use another unit as Spectenny, but you guys might not have her, and I might have her. So anything that prevents counters or is a strong single target DPS that could kill both the Rem and the Alencia easily. And having a bait here for the Alencia is really good as well. So the bottom team, you are going to be... I'm going to be using Trozette, Amelia, and Milim. Milim is good against both Arby and the Violet. So that's why I'm using her. But if you guys don't have Milim built or don't have her for some reason, even though she has a recent collab, you can use something like Senya or a Ravi again. Basically any strong bruiser that'll survive their attacks and be able to do enough damage to outdo Violet. All right, let's go.
I was going to let you off easy.
So it looks like their Alencia's speed tune be fast, so she actually would be stripping buffs to let Cecilia go, but yeah, she missed her strip here, and my Landy's kind of like a fast Landy, so it didn't really make a difference. So I'm just going to keep hitting the Rem because I don't want her to counter.
Let me show you my secret weapon.
Use her AoE counter, so that's why I'm doing that. So I'm just going to keep piling the damage on the Rem. Because before she gets Demon Mode, even if she counters, her Death Break is like not likely to land on units that have some sort of effect resist. And even if it does, it's not like she's going to be following up with another attack. So I'm just going to try to sustain my Landy here. My Landy is more on the squishy side of Landy's because she is kind of like a faster Landy. So that's the unfortunate part. If you have a Bruiser Landy, that's even better for this lineup, so you don't have to worry about her like getting too much damage on her and dying.
I will break through.
So my Crow is pretty much at the point where he can S3 to kill something, which is nice.
Requesting approval. And granted.
I think he'll be able to outspeed this Alencia because he does have speed buff and he did get CR pushed. So I don't think I'm going to heal him up. I could kill the CC here, but I'd rather just take care of the Rem. That way she doesn't get Demon Mode. And I'm not going to kill the Alencia because it's not going to be able to kill. So he might die here, but that's totally fine. Because we have Ruel here to take care of things. I could continue to hit the Alencia, but that'll give her Mind's Eye. So I'm just going to go on her for now. Especially because I did have attack down anyway, so I wasn't going to be doing as much damage. So we're going to revive Crow here. Crow, I'm going to have him keep going on the Cecilia. Just to get rid of some damage mitigation. I think she's on some sort of damage mitigating artifact. I don't remember. But again, Crow's going to be tanking pretty much everything except for the Cecilia attack. And she's not doing enough damage to really threaten my Landy anyways. So we're just going to keep attacking. The CC, we're going to heal her up just to make sure she doesn't die. And yeah, very straightforward fight from here on out. I might even wait for my Crow to get low enough and then we could S3 the Alencia, but we'll see what happens. Man, she is really not landing anything on my Landy. I'm 15%ing hard. So I'm just gonna Soul Burn S3 here. Just to speed the process up. And I just keep missing this girl over here. I'm not hitting my 50-50s. Whatever. I'm gonna wait until the Alencia doesn't have defense buff before I really fully go on her, or if CC dies. There we go. Cece's dead.
Shall I
So
have
she's
a
got
go?
Mind's Eye now. Doesn't matter. Again, we have crowd to tank everything.
Annoying vermin must be crushed.
She does do quite a bit of damage, but it really doesn't matter. We can Soul Burn S1 here just to top everybody up. Make sure nobody is even close to dying. And there we go. She is dead. So this second team, again, pretty straightforward. Even if I get S3'd here by the Cerise, I can always just use my Amelia to push up like this. And then we'll take care of the RB because he's the only threat against my team. Because if anything happens, right? Even if all my other units die, my Milim solos the Violet. So it really doesn't matter.
My own justice.
How should I do this?
This way.
So she's in S2 here. Let's hope I don't get hit. Again, I get take the defense break, but it doesn't matter because Violet's gonna miss no matter what. And then now we S2, S3 with Amelia, and then, you know,
Finally,
doesn't
my
matter.
sword has some work to do.
And then we stun her too. So I have Symbol of Unity on her, so I'm just gonna hit her because I'll most likely kill. There we go. And there's literally zero threat now.
Be grateful that you get to fight me.
Push her back up. This one. And he's
This
almost dead.
sword is the only
So
thing
much
I
damage.
trust. Who let these guys off their leashes?
And then Milim goes and we win. Oh, she doesn't go yet, but there we go. Now she goes. Alright, easy game.